I'ma tell you the truth. Hey, look, I'ma tell you the truth. I'ma tell you the truth. Hey, look, I'ma tell you the truth. Tell you the truth. I'ma tell you the truth. Hey, look, I'ma tell you the truth. What's up, everybody? Jayson Foley in the building once again, the Unpoplar Truth Podcast. And today I got a guest with me, y'all. I guarantee you I've been watching her. Met her last year, but no, I've been knowing her for years. I've been knowing her somewhat for a long time. She's the wife to a very close friend of mine. And we've been, back and forth over these past few months. Really, I want to say over the past year, when I first started posting on social media, the different relationships, different topics. Every time she comments, y'all, it's always, it puts me like, you know what I'm saying? Even when I try to be controversial, she'll give you the male point of view and the female point of view. So I told her I was going to get you in here on this podcast as soon as I possibly can. And what do you know? She's in the building today. Let me introduce you all to someone that is all about mental health. She games the unwind, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. Definitely a person you need to listen to on this podcast. And this is my homegirl, Miss Carmen. Does that fit?
Mm-hmm.
All right. What's up, Miss Carmen?
I'm happy to be here, and I feel so honored for you to say those nice things about me.
Man, what? Look, like I said, when I first did you all's wedding video, of course, I was like, wait a minute, she a UT. I forgot to say that. We got a mock in the building, University of Tennessee. I see you back there. It's another alumni. So when I did the wedding, I was like, okay, cool. Very cool young lady. Then for you to I ain't gonna say trap, man. Forgive me. For you to have my guy. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been knowing him since we've been knee high. You know what I'm saying? That it took some time for us to grow up. And so for you to be the one that he chose to spend the rest of his life with, I was like, that's dope. And so that was off the bat. But then, of course, when I started posting about different subjects and relationship topics, and then you would comment, a lot of them times I'd be like, man, I'm finna go back at her. But I couldn't. You get what I'm saying? Because I like it. I like to be the devil's advocate.
Ironically, I try to be, this might be kind of, I don't know, strange about to say this, but I actually take my social media presence seriously. Right, I've been on Facebook since its inception. Like when you had to have an EDU to be on Facebook. That's how long I have been on Facebook. And I apply the same kind of principles about like writing, and I have a minor in communication, so that's why. But I apply those same kind of principles to how I post things on social media.
Okay.
I know that a lot of people are like, oh, it's my page and it's my Facebook, it's my Instagram. Yeah, it is, but I try to be responsible. Right. I want to credit things to people who said it properly. Okay. And I don't like to post things that are highly, I guess, inflammatory. Like you'll never see me post like fights and like violence.
Oh, right. Yeah, I rock with that. Yeah.
But I definitely like to post the things that are of interest to me. Mm-hmm. And that's how I also respond to other people. If you post something that is interesting and it's a healthy conversation, it's not meant to like, lowball or hit people in the stomach.
Exactly.
I'm all for having those kinds of conversations that kind of discourse, even if it's a debate.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm with that. You know what I'm saying? They say, if it hurt, holler. Shoot fit where if it hurt, holler. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, you know what? And I forgot to do that in the beginning because I talked the whole time. And so I forgot to say, Carmen, let the people know who you are and what you're about. But I think you pretty much said that. You pretty much said that,
yes, because like I'm literally a regular person.
Right. Okay.
I'm not, doing anything of notoriety or anything. I'm literally just trying to live my life and do the best to be a good human being.
Gotcha. Now, okay. We are on the Unpopular Truth. And of course, earlier, and we've always had these conversations. We talked about different subjects, and I warned all my guests once again that when it's time for us to do the speed round, spin the wheel. Some of the questions are going to be about relationships. Some of them probably be wild. Now, if you ever feel uncomfortable about anything that we talk about, just say, Foley, we'll go to something else. Okay. Right? Okay. So let's start with this right here, and we talked about this online once before, and it was about a video that I posted where it was the modern day women choosing either toxicity or the basic cool relationship, and of course, a lot of the women that were going to make their decision, they were choosing the toxic side. And so a lot of people was like, well, yeah, that's the modern women. That's what women are today. How do you feel about that? Do you think that that's a stereotype with just those women? We kind of classify all women like that? Or do you really see that in society as far as like where women are headed? They're choosing more toxic relationships than actually good ones.
I think it literally is just another trope or stereotype for women, especially for Black women.
Right.
And it's really, really sad. It's really sad to see these, even though like if they're posting it like on TikTok and things like that, it might just be for likes, views, commentary of some sort.
Right. Okay.
But if you do take away the irony or the funniness about it for 2 seconds and look at the underlying things that are serious about this presentation of the modern woman, I think that I'm a modern woman.
Okay.
In my marriage, in my relationship, my husband cooks. I clean. We both share household duties.
Okay.
It's not it's not like I can't go anywhere or I have to always be like, can I? Or I don't have expectations of him having to do certain kind of things for me.
Right.
I don't have nails to do, but he's not doing nails. He's not responsible for my haircut or my clothes or things like that. I don't expect that from him. I just expect him to do the things that we're doing together because we are together.
Gotcha.
To me, that's part of being a modern woman. So I can't relate to having these kind of standards where someone's got to like pay all the bills and do all the things for me, and all I have to do is just show up and be.
Gotcha.
I don't understand that. I don't have a personal frame of reference for that.
Okay.
But I just take into consideration that these days, maybe people often forget where we've come from.
Gotcha.
Because maybe it might have seemed as if Mima was being taken care of by Peppa, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
She didn't have any, he did all these things for her. But women sometimes forget that we didn't have the legal right to own property, have a credit card or a bank account until the 70s.
Right.
And this is not 1870, it's 1970.
Yeah, people think it was so long ago. It wasn't that far.
It wasn't. If you were born in 79, it's not that long ago, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And so most of the time my nieces, when I talk to them about that, because I've got nieces that are like, I've got one that's 38, I've got one that's 27 and one that's 28, and I got a nephew. Most of the time they don't want to talk to me about these things because I'm going to bring up the historical precedent and where we've come from as people and tell them, you all want to be mindful of that.
They don't want to hear that.
Yeah, because people just want to kind of do.
Exactly.
And I get it, but I wouldn't want to be a person, and I'm not that person that allows the world to put this label on me when A, you don't know my struggle. B, you have been ignoring a whole group of people struggle for a long time.
Right. And
C, sometimes everything ain't just for fun and for a presence.
Yeah.
Like it is actually somebody's real life.
Gotcha.
So
with all that you just said right there, you definitely hit on a point, and that's the historical presence of these modern women, right? They want a man to pay to get their hair done, pay to get their nails done. They want all the perks of old. They want the man to pay all the bills, right? And I see this guy, he went viral saying the same thing. Man, you're not a real man if your wife pays anything. Your wife should be at home taking care of while you out here beating the fields or whatever he does. You know what I mean?
I incurred my student loans. Why would I expect my husband to? I did that before I became Houston as a Eubanks. I'm the one that went to school and did that. I wouldn't expect him to do that for me. Right,
but that's what he was saying. And so it's like they want the modern, they want the old school feel with the modern day freedom. So like if I'm paying all the bills, what I say go in the house. And a lot of those women was like, no. So if the man, if I'm taking care of the house, I'm paying all the bills, and I tell you your skirt too short, and you tell me you insecure, this is how we dress. No, as the man of the house, right? You should honor what I say. If you want to go the historical term, because like I said, we talk about Nima and them. Nima and them used to, back in the day, they used to wear a slip. You know what I mean? To get sexy, it was a house coat.
They actually knew what demure actually meant.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So they knew what demure meant. They just weren't saying it because it's a new word to describe a bad chick. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's why with everything you just said, like, that's what a lot of women, I feel, the truth is they don't want the responsibility of that old thing, but they want that man to be the old thing. Don't give me the responsibility of a wife. I want to be your glorified girlfriend and you just take care of everything else.
And I've talked about this with like a lot of my friends. One of my best friends is a guy, and he's dating, and he's talking about running into these newer women.
Right.
And how he's like really turned off about it because that's how everybody sounds. And he's like, everybody looks the same and everybody sounds the same, and it's tiring. And I'm like, well, I get it. But that's kind of like where we are. Right. And if you want to find who you're supposed to be with, right? You're going to have to kiss some frogs. Yeah. You might have to wade in the pissy pool water, as people like to say these days. You might have to do that. But just because this person is coming to you like that, stand your ground about who you are and what you expect and what you want.
Right.
And I'm not trying to sound like I'm downing people, or especially women who believe in the new modern take on being a woman. But that's not going to be acceptable by every person that you encounter. Every man is not going to be with it. Just like there's every man is not the person trying to offer that to you. Right. Okay. I just want y'all to find each other.
Yeah.
That's what that is. Find each other and stop like wreaking havoc in other people's lives who don't want that.
Gotcha.
Who legitimately want like monogamous relationships. They want to have a partnership with somebody.
Right.
Not be in something that is transactional, as in you got my hair done, you paid my rent, and I guess now I got to put out.
Right. Yeah. Because that's kind of what it is too. Oh, you take me to Cheesecake Factory and expect me to, I'm looking this good. I'm looking too good for Cheesecake Factory. Nothing wrong with Cheesecake Factory. I want to pick us up as a sponsor. I'm just saying.
I hate that it's gone from Memphis because I love Cheesecake Factory and I never had a problem with it.
Yeah, never had a problem with it. As a matter of fact, it was a cool date night. You get what I'm saying? Wasn't too expensive, but just expensive enough. You get what I'm saying? Even had the ambience. It was dark in there a little bit. You'd be a little romantic. You know what I'm saying? Spent $60. We made it, right? You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about this right here. And of course, married. Let's talk about the relationship, or let's talk about the idea of marriage, right? So is it better, or has it been better? I mean, this is a real question. Has it been better since you've been married, or do you think that having a life partnership is more important than the title of marriage?
I didn't care about it either way. My parents were married.
Right. How long? How long? How long?
Well, my parents got married in 1965. My dad passed away in 1992.
Okay.
My mom had maybe 2 or 3 boyfriends after that, but she never remarried. I've known plenty of people who've had good marriages. I've known plenty of people who had some terrible marriages that led to divorce.
Right.
But that wasn't the things that made me say I didn't want to be married. It just wasn't. I wasn't the little girl that played, married with my Barbies and stuff. I didn't have some notebook
of dreams,
wedding, my dream dress.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't have none of that. I literally had just been like, well, maybe I will, maybe I won't. But if I won't, it'll be okay.
Right.
So that's who he met when we got together. And he kind of was thinking on the same lines of that.
Yeah.
So we get married. And the things that I found to be slightly different than when we were just like boyfriend and girlfriend and just dating is literally the conversations that we're having. We had always talked about a whole bunch of things. I'm proud and I feel privileged to be that I know that this is my friend.
Right. That makes a difference.
And he actually does care about me and how I feel. Our conversations shift in a different kind of way. We are talking about the longevity of our relationship as a married couple,
right,
and how it's going to have to change, especially because we're getting older, right?
Right, yeah.
Or that your needs are changing, your desires change over time.
Exactly, yeah.
We're talking about that more often and more frequently.
Okay.
Since we've gotten married.
So did the marriage, like how you say you went to counseling, right? He said you all were basically better due to the data. You all were better as life partners, would say. So we want to be together. We don't see ourselves really just doing too much with anybody else. This is my friend. And so when you all make the decision to get married, right? So now, now you're married and you're saying that things change. So you all discuss what changes in the marriage, or are you all discussing what changes as me personally? Like as a couple, we want to take more trips. So we want to, or as an individual, Carmen wants to party every other weekend now. I done did all the, so like what?
It's honestly a little bit of both.
Okay.
It's like, and I say that even had we not got married and we were just still together, right? This more than likely would still have been a logical progression on how we relate to one another.
Okay.
But if there is anything, I guess, that we do lean into about the tradition of marriage is that there is this more acute form of my person first.
Right. Okay.
Not that we weren't thinking of each other before, but now it's my person in, like I've been trying to tell Eddie, like, if we're going to get a house, right, can we do single level and not stairs?
Yeah, stairs.
Because I've had arthritis in my knees since I was 27.
Okay.
So, and we live in an apartment that has a lot of stairs. I was like, I'm tired of stairs. And as you get older, if this is a place that we're supposed to build together and be together forever, right? We got to think about that. He never thought about that.
Wow.
Not thinking about like having to accept that you can't just be so set in your own mind about what you want,
right,
and what the future is supposed to look like. You can't do that when you're married.
Gotcha. Okay.
You could do that. I would wonder if you're two people who are living individual lives in your marriage, because I've encountered, and I know people who that's how their marriage works,
right,
and that's their marriage, but that wouldn't work for our marriage. We are two people together. So if I'm worried about, I don't know, his health, right?
Right.
One, I'm not gonna nag him about his health, because I wouldn't want you to nag me about what I'm doing for my own health. I don't do that. Okay. But I will be like, hey, don't forget your inhaler. Today a code orange, so make sure you taking breaks and hitting that inhaler when you need to, because it's gonna be hard on you today.
So you slick B, mama. Slick B. Well, slick B, mama. Come on now, Carmen. That's slick mama, because my mama called me. You got a hat on, mama. I'm 40 something. Like, what you doing? You got a hat on.
Yeah,
come on,
like,
mama.
I guess that can be kind of, sort of mama-ish. But like, I'm not on him about, put your work clothes out and watch them. It ain't like that, but I'm doing that. Okay. Because I am considering that. I know if it's bad outside, the weather's bad, I feel bad because of allergies, but it's even worse for him because he's asthmatic. So, right. Okay. And that's why I say that. But I'm not saying it from a place of like, critical. It's not critical. It's literally because I care. Exactly. Okay. And it needs to be that way especially when you're married.
Yeah, you got to tell them every once in a while, hey, watch that now. Watch what you eat. Watch what you. Yeah.
I always think it's funny when I hear him say, well, I'll hear him say to like his friends that'll call and be like, can you come over and game, or do you want to hang out and do a guy's thing? And he'll be like, well, I got to ask my wife first. And I'm saying to myself, well, you really didn't have to, but because I'm just gonna be like, well, have a good time. I'll see you when you get back.
That's the friendship side of it, because that's how I am with my wife. Like, we don't ask permission. We say, hey, I'm thinking. Sometimes, like, I'm thinking of going, or we kind of get into the age. I'm not gonna say, oh, not like that. If forget the gray, I died like this. So it's kind of like, hey, okay, yeah, we supposed to go. I'm supposed to go see somebody tonight, and then an hour later, I'm still in the house like this right here watching the TV. And she's like, I thought you were supposed to be gone. Hey, I'm good. You know what I mean? So that's the cool thing. I do know people where it is like that, where it's like, let me ask my wife, can I do? Or let me ask. I'm like, ask your wife. Like, who does that? You got to ask permission. So she can just up and decide that today is the day that she don't want you to hang with with your friends. Yeah. Or that means you got to decide when she can hang with hers. And I'm thinking that's like, no.
That just feels like it's a lot of responsibility for somebody that you shouldn't really have to have anyway.
Come on, y'all. Right? Yeah. Okay. So of course, Carmen, like I heard all of that with the with the marriage and everything else, but this is another subject that I'm super stoked to have you on here, because it became hot with Jada Pinkett, of course. When she mentioned it, a lot of people, I guess, didn't know about it, so they thought she was lying. It was like, no, you're not. Like, come on, your hair not just falling. You doing something, right? But it's a real thing, right? Real thing. And you happen to have it. So to the viewers out there and everybody paying attention, what is alopecia? Like, what is it? And like, what are the symptoms? Is it something that we need to, does it come out of the blue, or do you see small telltale signs, like maybe like little small pieces of hair, patches of hair missing? So explain to our viewers, what exactly is alopecia?
So alopecia is an autoimmune disorder.
Okay.
It's pretty much where your body is attacking your hair follicles. And your hair follicles want to grow, but your body's saying, I don't want that there. And there are varying degrees of alopecia.
Okay.
Alopecia, I believe, universalis is you have no hair at all. So you wouldn't have any eyebrows, you wouldn't have eyelashes, no body hair, no hair. There is I might get them mixed up sometimes. And then one of them is totalis, where you may just not have hair on your head, but you still have eyebrows and other body hair.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then like what we for a long time recognized to be like male pattern baldness,
yeah,
or female pattern baldness, because it happens both ways. It's also a version of alopecia, which is what I have. It's androgenic alopecia. Alopecia, that's the big word for it. And it's different because it can occur in like the early stages of people's lives, like young kids or kids that don't have any hair, or it can be something that gradually happens to you as you get older. Or sometimes for some people, your hair will grow back completely and then just fall out in chunks in places.
Right. Okay.
For me, there is also sometimes a hereditary component to it as well, because like my mom's hair is the same as mine, and then her mom's hair was the same. I remember I went from, let's say, so 2000 I went to college, right? I had full head hair. Right. I liked wearing big hair, curls and everything here. And then 2003 I went natural.
Okay.
Just to kind of give my hair a break, and so I wore an afro for probably about 4 or 5 years after that. And then I went to the barber because my afro was just super, super, super bushy. My aunt used to actually cut my hair, but she had passed away. And so I had to find somebody to cut my hair. And I found somebody, and I was in Chattanooga then. And he's cutting my hair, and he looks and he says, do you know that you don't have a lot of hair in the crown of your head? And I was like, nope, can't see it. So I didn't know that. And I said, oh. And I said, is it like really, really noticeable? And he was like, I notice it because I'm in your head, but I'm going to cut your hair this certain kind of way. So I went from having a big bushy afro to like a taper.
Right.
And then as I lost more hair, I went shorter. Okay. So at one point in time, I was like probably rocking like a ball fade Caesar kind of situation.
Yeah, what they call uptown, where it's almost like basically a hairline.
Hairline, right?
Okay, yeah.
Uptown. And but I was still losing more hair. So like literally at the crown of my head, right here at the top, it's a bald spot. Like,
okay.
But I still grow hair in other places. I actually recently just noticed another bald spot on this side, but it doesn't matter at this point.
Right.
So I actually do shave my head completely because I went a whole entire year where I tried to wear wigs. They require work. They require the work I didn't put in as a natural person. Like
to
I wasn't
put on
doing,
wigs and stuff like that?
Like when I was natural, I wasn't wearing like, coils and strands and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't doing it. I was just afro, pick out, go.
Right.
So I don't like to do hair that way, but you have to take care of them, whether they're synthetic or if they're human hair wigs. If they're human hair, they require work. Like I didn't own curlers or rollers or stuff like that. I had clippers and razors. And so I was just like, I did it for a year. I would go to work with my wig on, get halfway through my work day, take it off. The person I was dating at the time, one time I came to the door and I actually happened to have my wig on still, and he wouldn't let me in the house. I happened to not have my key, and I'm knocking on the door, and he was like, I thought you were a stranger trying to sell me something. And I was like, really? And he's like, well, I didn't see you leave that morning with that hair on, so I didn't know it was you. And we laughed about it, but I thought about it.
Yeah.
And every time I put a wig on, I also felt like I had to make up. So I had to get up early, put my full face makeup on, make sure I was looking a certain kind of way, and then go to work. And I literally got to a point where I felt like I was maintaining this image that was not me. And it was too much effort that I didn't want to put into. So I was like, forget it. I can learn how to shave my own head, or and I did. And that's fine for me.
Right.
Most people assume that I had cancer. I've gotten that a lot. A lot of people thought that I was like going through something else or something in my life. And I was like, no. I miss hair for like 5 minutes. Like I saw your wife's hair and I was like, oh, I miss hair for 5 minutes. But that's what I did.
Then you right back.
Because it's some stuff I just don't have to deal with anymore.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, that's alopecia. And to hear people it impacts like over 8 million people in the world.
Right.
So I'm surprised that people didn't know anything about it or didn't know what it was until Jada comes out on the scene or whatever. But no, it's been here prior to her.
And that's what I'm saying. So like when she said it, everybody was like, oh, she lying. She just missed Tupac. That type of thing. So it was like, oh, she balled it because Will Smith, you know. And so it was really like, where did this disease come from? And so
they don't even know.
Exactly.
Doctors don't actually know like where it came from. And they've been doing more research and stuff. Just recently came out with like better drugs to try to help with growing your hair. But outside of like the medical part, from that perspective, a lot of men and women struggle with the outside things.
Right.
Like how do people in the world perceive this?
Yeah.
Which is why some people will put on like a toupee or a wig or whatever.
Glue and everything else.
And go that route or whatever. Or how some people can even sometimes like shrink themselves. It has been linked to increased diagnosis of depression. And if you think about it, likely so, because there has always been, especially if we're talking about from the society, a lot to do and a lot to say about hair.
Exactly, and I was going to say that.
In a woman's hair,
with a black woman's hair.
Even in the biblical sense. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
the $1 million thing.
The thing that I try to remind myself all the time is that I'm not less of a woman because I don't have a full head of hair.
Right.
I also don't have any children of my own. That doesn't make me less than a woman. So why would this make me less? It's not. And it made me have to be present. I can't hide behind a wig. I can't hide behind wrapping my head up today or whatever. I had to go to work every day. I wasn't working at home at that time, so I had to go and I have to go do things. I've got doctor's appointments. I've got bills to pay. It's not like I can go get in the closet and hide and never come back out again. So we might as well just accept this for what it is.
And that's what I was going to ask you next. What point, and then we're going to jump in the speed round, because I know we probably, our producers like, wait a minute, y'all really deep. But I knew this was going to happen. I knew once I brought Carmen on here, we was going to have to go about 45 minutes to an hour. So at what point did you look in the mirror? Because like, you know, and that's important. Even as a man, like when I was growing up, I was not pretty unless I had waves or hair. You get what I'm saying? I remember one day, and this goes out to my partner, Big Junior. Big Junior was our neighborhood. Let me learn how to barber. Let me learn how to cut hair. He accidentally went too high on a piece of my head, right? So I had to go murder one. We call it murder one, y'all. Murder one is bald. And I walked back in that school building the next day. I had a hat on. And when I tell you I got cooked, I don't know if Eddie remembered. Eddie might remember, but you know what I'm saying? I had to come in the building. Now, this is somebody, I had every hairstyle in my head that you can imagine. Did
you have a nouveau?
Yes.
You did?
I had an S-curl. I had a nouveau. I've had dreads. I've had braids. And this was going to shock you. I had finger waves.
You had finger waves too?
Because I looked at a picture of Louis Armstrong. I saw Louis Armstrong holding that trunk, and I was like, man, I want finger waves. And I worked and shined shoes, saved my little $25.
So you can get
so I got, and my dad, I remember my dad came in the room and my dad looked at me upside my head. And I was sitting there playing the game, and he looked at me upside my head, and I was like, what? And he was like, boy. And I don't know if have you ever seen that Temptation movie when Otis got that hair done? That's how my dad looked at me when I got finger waves, but you couldn't tell me nothing. You couldn't tell, because it's all in black hair. It's the pride of black hair. You know, even now the beard is the pride. You get what I'm saying? And so I wanted to ask you this, and then we get into the speed round. At what point, or what made you, or did you look in the mirror one day, you know, Carmen, and just say, you know what, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna be bold. Which means I'm not gonna hold my head down. I'm gonna go in there, and you know, of course, there's gonna be people like, "Girl, you know," because of course they used to you, like how you said that the ex-boyfriend thought you was a stranger, which is crazy. Like, damn, I didn't recognize your eyes. You know, that's crazy. But you know, maybe he was a pluck, but that's it. He was a pluck. He didn't recognize you without your hair. But at what point did you say, you know, I'm gonna rock this and I'm gonna be bold? Because when I went bald head, my life was over. It was over. I lost a girl. My girl dumped me. My girl dumped me, and maybe she's watching this. I remember that. You know, as I walk in that building, and you know you can't wear hats in the building. My coach said, "Take that hat off." And when I took it off, I think 5 minutes later, she walked up to me and was like, "I can't do this." And I said, "You can't do what?" And she was like, "You bald head." And that was it. I lost my girlfriend.
Well,
yeah.
You know, the shortcomings of young folks.
You know what I'm saying?
But I literally got up one morning and get ready to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
I had overslept. I'm standing in the mirror. I'm looking at the wig I had in my hand. And I said, I don't feel like it. I'm not putting this wig on today. I'm not putting on any makeup today. I'm just going to work. That's it. And I said, in fact, before I walked out the door, I was like, and I'm giving all this stuff away.
You said,
yeah, I'm giving all this stuff away. And so I went to work just like this, walked in, went to my desk, and people were like, hey. And they walked past the cubicle, hey, Carmen? And I said, yep, how you doing? Doing my work and stuff. And for the most part in my workspace anyway, most of my colleagues were just like, I love this on you.
Right.
You know, I love this. I couldn't do that. I said, maybe you could. Yeah. You know, I was kind of like that. And then I literally, after I got done working that day, I went home and I put everything in a bag. And I asked one of my coworkers if she wanted them. Yeah. And I gave them all the way, the tools, the stands, and everything. I was like, I will bring you all the stuff because I don't want it.
You got to have a certain level of confidence though, because like I can't do it. Like I can't do it. Like, you know, and my wife tried to tell me, you got a nice shaped head. No, I don't. My joke look like a bullet. I guarantee it's a wrap. If I go bald head, I'm gonna get the glue, the toupee. I'm just playing. But you know, it definitely works for you. It's beautiful. Your wedding was beautiful. I mean, everything was on point. And it did not, just having a bald head did not take away from any, and it does not take away from any side of your beauty. And so for you to wake up that morning and say, this is me, that's bold.
And it literally was because I just didn't feel, that day I was like, I don't feel like doing this. Right. But I've always been the kind of person that I make the commitment. Like I've been wearing makeup now since I was probably about 30. I didn't wear makeup. What? I never wore makeup. And when I started wearing it, I was like, well, it's all or nothing. Yeah. I was like, I definitely don't want to be out here looking like a clown. So we're going to practice and we're going to wear it or when I don't wear it at all. But I took the same idea with accepting that I can't grow a full head of hair. Right. And that's perfectly fine.
Dig that. All right. Well, y'all found out what alopecia is. Alopecia. And of course, you found out the benefits and actual idea of marriage and how it should work. Is that fair to say? I think that's fair to say.
I will also add this about alopecia.
Okay, let's add this. Go ahead.
That I never considered. It made it easy to weed out the people that did not belong. Whether that was regular friendships or even when I was dating. Wow. I encountered lots of men that would tell me that they were comfortable. Right. Because I was comfortable. Right. But then we would get out in public and of course people stare at me. Well, I was used to the stares, so I never paid attention. I remember going on a date once where the guy was like, we have to leave. And I was like, why? I'm mid-bite of food. Why are we leaving? I just can't take the stairs. And I was like, okay, well, let's just get a to-go box and we'll go. And in the car, he tells me, this is hard for me. And I'm like, it's not hard for me, but okay.
Wow. And so he's like ending the date simply because you don't have this head full of hair
and because other people have been like staring at me. And I was just like, this is my life all the time. Right. Mm-hmm. And I said, at least sometimes like kids will like point and be like, mommy, what's going on? Or have tried to touch my head. Or adults will just be like, so I'm a cancer survivor too. Like that's been the assumption. And I respond in kind from that. I've even walked into stores and got discounts because they were like, welcome, sir. How can I help you? And I was like, sir, I got hips and stuff. What you talking about? I got a purse and earrings on today.
I know, right? Say, sir.
So I get your employee discount today. Okay, thank you.
Wow.
But your dude was like upset about that. Yeah. And so that made it easy for me to say, this is the last time we're gonna see each other.
Exactly. Yeah. That makes sense. And I guarantee you, you did hit that on the head because you have to be a confident man first, you know, to date someone that doesn't, you know, spend hours on how they look. You know, if someone is comfortable, exactly. You have to be a confident man within yourself. And I know Eddie for a fact, like he very confident dude.
He's got no confidence for both of us.
You know what I'm saying?
I could say that.
And that's that hampiness. I guarantee you, that's that BBB. So hey, okay, all right. Well, you know what time it is. Let's get in speed round real quick. All right, definitely a dope. You know, explaining everybody should know what alopecia is right now. And so we're getting ready to get into our speed round. This is the round where, like I said, questions can be iffy or they can be relationship. Right.
Okay.
So we can get some unpopular truth about relationship, or we can get some iffy.
Okay.
But it's all in your finger. You
Okay.
blow on your finger like at the track. Make sure you gotcha. Okay. So
I'm not a gambling person.
Hey, some of these questions, I'm like, man, look. Okay,
well,
so
you push it. I trust you.
No, it's not me.
Sure?
No, it's not me.
Okay.
You said try to flip that on us out. It's on her. So you push the button and then you read the question. And there's over 100 questions on here.
Okay.
So, it's not all geared to one thing. So whatever the question is, you read it. If it's something I got to elaborate on now, we'll elaborate on it.
Dating for marriage or fun?
I think we already talked about that.
Well, is this question like for the people who say that purposely, like, oh,
yes,
get married?
Yeah. So, like, if you want to talk about that,
yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about that. So, in today's times, how do you feel about that? What's the unpopular truth about people who say we're dating? Like, are they dating for marriage, or really are they dating for fun? How do you feel about people these days?
I think that concept is trash. I just took that from my 13-year-old. Thank you, Royce. He says it a lot. Yeah, I think that concept, I've always thought the concept was trash, because I think people should be dating to get to know people.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, maybe you might think you want to be married, but what if you don't ever
get
date
married
and meet the person that wants the same?
Right.
Then that means you're never going to be married.
Okay.
Or what if you're the person who's just out here having fun, and then you meet the one and you get married? Mm-hmm. It can go either way. So I think it's more to a person's advantage to say, I am dating to get to know people, and to get to know myself and understand what it is that I want. Okay.
And you know what? I find that interesting, because a lot of times people say, oh, I'm only dating nowadays for marriage, and they miss out, or either they screw up a relationship that might have led to marriage, but they're so bent on the idea, entitlement of marriage that they tend to kind of skip. It's almost saying, well, I'm only looking for the $1 million, and you mess around and miss 100,000 10 times. Well, you could have had your million, but you exactly.
But you've been focused. You pretty much had the tunnel vision the whole entire time.
Exactly. So I'm not dating, and it messes up. So I rock with that. So you think that's some trash concept for folks to be talking about some dating? For you should date. You should explain it again. You should date
date to get to know people and to get to know yourself.
Exactly. Okay. Dig that. All right. Let's go to the second one. Okay. All right. Let's see what you get this time. I told my guy, I said, if I can keep her safe, man, but it's the wheel. It's the wheel. She just laughed, y'all.
I haven't seen anything yet.
Okay. Here it is.
If someone cheats, what is your next move?
Oh, okay. If you're in a relationship.
I've had this happen to me before. So
what? Okay, so
it's not like it ain't never happened before.
If that person cheats on you.
When I found out that man cheated on me.
What's your next move?
My next move was, I'm just going to say what I did. This is what I did. I worked at an insurance company, and I worked 11:30 to 8 o'clock.
Right.
I got up early that day than I normally do. Because by this time, I've already pieced together all the information. I've talked to the other woman to figure out what was going on.
Exactly.
She said that she was afraid. I didn't accost her like in public or nothing like that. I found messages and I just asked her, I was like, so is this what I think it is? And she was like, yeah, but I didn't know. And I was like, okay, well, thanks. I said, well, before I not say nothing else about this, I said, did y'all, like, how far have things gone?
Right.
Because I wanted to know everything before I actually confronted him. And she was like, well, we never like done anything. We just been on like a date or two. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, and she told me this is over because I legitimately did not know. Okay. Well, I was late to work that day because instead of going to work, I went over to his house and I came in. I was real calm, just like a regular time for me coming over. And he was like, what are you doing here? Ain't you supposed to be at work? And I was like, yeah, I've been thinking about you. I want to talk to you about something. So I figured I would just come, it'll be fine.
That's some crazy
I can use some PTO. It'll be okay.
That's some crazy ones.
And when we sat down at the kitchen table, I just said, remember you said you cared about me like this, right? And I was like, are you happy? And he was like, yeah, I am. And I was like, are you? Well, if you were happy, then why are you texting la 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 la?
Wow.
And the look on his face, because he's light skinned, he could have been my color at that point because he was like, what? And I said, and don't open your mouth because I could tell he was about to lie and say, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
And I was like, I've already talked to her. I've already seen your message. She sent me all the messages, right?
Right.
And I said, how could you lie to me and say that our relationship is like this, and then you're out doing something else?
Gotcha.
What made it worse though was when he was like, well, because I was pressing him. I was like, why would you do this? Like, why? Because I told you if things weren't working out and you don't want to be with me, and vice versa, I was going to tell you. You just need to tell me. I'm an adult, and I'll deal with it how I need to deal with it.
Right.
But it'd be fine. This man fixed his mouth to tell me, well, we weren't being intimate like we were used to, and I didn't know what was going on.
Right. Okay.
I was having some woman issues. That's why we weren't intimate.
Exactly.
Which makes sense to me. Like being on your period for 30 days, kind of not being able to be intimate.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Like
Yeah.
And,
that's a long time.
Yeah.
So I not to defend him, but that's a long time. I can see why he probably felt like, you were getting your rocks off somewhere else if every time I go to touch you, it was...
No, I literally was like, I cannot unless you want, and that's nasty.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm saying, I don't really, that's kind of nasty.
Say we don't do the red rodeo.
I was like, something is going on and I don't know what it is, but I can't right now, right? And I've always been the kind of partner like, well, what else you want to do? Because he was like, well, no, it'll be okay. I understand. But he clearly did not understand.
Exactly.
Or didn't want to understand or whatever. But I say it's best for you to confront.
Right.
Now, I don't say go and put sugar in people's tanks and key cars and want to fight people, right?
Okay.
Don't do that. But there is a conversation that needs to be had, and then there is a decision that needs to be made.
Gotcha.
Can we bounce back from this, or do we need to go our separate ways? And you need to do what you need to do.
I dig it. So I'm going to ask you this. But we unless you want to do wheel again, you want to try one more time? We always try to do 3. You want to do 3? Okay, let's do one more. Okay. And then if we got a little more time left, I'm going to ask you that question. But okay, let's see what we get. Carmen been kind of safe. I was scared for a minute. I thought she was gonna get one. I was gonna
get the anal question.
Yeah, I thought we was gonna get that one. I can't lie. Okay, what's this one?
Do people with good hearts get fucked over the most?
Right. Okay. What's an unpopular truth about that? Because they say people with good hearts, they're the ones that end up getting fucked over the most. The good heart people, the people that put others before them, they tend to end up with the short stick in the end. Is that the truth? Do you think that's the truth, or?
I think it's kind of, I'm gonna say it's circumstantial. That's what I'm gonna say to that, because yes, will people take advantage of somebody's goodness?
Right.
Yeah, but there is also some culpability for you as the good person, right? We can be good people, but what if we lean into being people pleasing, right?
Right.
That's not a healthy way to be.
Yeah, that makes
what
a
if
difference.
we'll allow people to do for people, but at the expense of ourselves, right?
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Somewhere you have to admit or come to the realization that I am part of this issue. If I keep feeling like every relationship I have, whether it's platonic or romantic, I end up I'm always feeling like I'm fucked over all the time. You gotta one day ask yourself, what is this about me?
Right.
Because law of attraction is a thing. Mm-hmm. We attract what we put out in the world.
That's real.
Right?
That's real.
So
the law of attraction.
It takes some introspection. I will say that.
Mm-hmm.
I can say at one point in time I was a person that felt like I was constantly being mistreated and fucked over all the time when I knew that I was showing up a certain kind of way.
Right.
But I'm showing up for people the way that I want people to show up for me. That's what I learned. And that was part of the issue. So yeah, I would accept some things that I know I wouldn't have accepted in any other shape, form, or fashion.
Gotcha.
Because I was weighing these other pros and cons, or I know these things about these people, and I'm trying to sometimes even prove that I'm worthy of something. Yeah. No.
Okay.
You might be getting fucked over because you keep allowing it. And you might need to do some work within yourself to figure out what it is. Right. It may be that you need to learn how to set better boundaries with people. It may be that you need to learn how to value yourself a little bit more. Right. And that takes learning. It's not something that, how we come out in the world and eventually learn how to talk, eat, and walk, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
but you had to learn how to do that. Well, this is something you got to learn how to do too. And if it's
Right.
not modeled or mirrored for you, and it's
Mhm.
not for a number of us, then how do you learn it? A lot of times we might have to learn it the hard way, but you
Mhm.
got to learn the lesson. And sometimes lessons end up repeating themselves because you didn't learn it.
Gotcha.
So-
Gotcha. And I rock with that. I rock with that all the way. See, and that's one thing about me. And even when I counsel and talk to other women about relationships, it's always, and I tell them, I say, you may not like my answer. You may not like my answer, but it's always a common denominator somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And
Because
it's
exactly, it's simple math. There's always a common denominator. He cheated. The relationship was like this at first. He changed. He was a liar. All of these things are happening, but there is a common denominator, which is you.
You're not admitting and saying, well, I overlooked.
The
red flags were there and I just didn't recognize them. Or maybe
just to have
a
relationship. Yeah.
Or maybe that I thought because this is what I grew up around, that this is the way it's supposed to be.
Right, exactly.
I often personally feel like the whole thing about struggle love is because that's what's been presented to us for a very long time.
Exactly.
That in order for your relationship to be valid, y'all got to have overcome some big thing when no, you don't have to.
You don't have to. And I tell people that too. I'm like, love doesn't have to hurt just for it to be real. Because see, a lot of people think that if the love don't hurt, it's not, if the love don't hurt, it's not real. And I'm like, it shouldn't hurt. Love shouldn't hurt. Love should actually be,
it's supposed to be fulfilling
fun.
And
and
fulfilling
and fun.
And make you want to, sometimes it makes you want to change.
Right.
Sometimes it makes you want to, do the better thing. Or love will make you say, you know what, I love you enough that I know I'm not where I need to be, and you can go and find a person that you need to be with.
Gotcha. Okay. Might be you. And look, I want to thank you for coming, Miss Carmen. This was super dope. I know we went past by the hour, cameras dying, microphones, but it was definitely well worth it. We learned a lot today. We learned about the value of marriage, the value of learning yourself first before you try to say, I'm going to jump out here and try to marry, somebody. We learned about confidence. We definitely learned about alopecia. And then, of course, in the end, we talked about matching energy as far as cheating. And that was going to bring me to my last thing. And we're going to close out real quick, Ms. Carmen. Okay. And that is cheating a deal breaker to you? Which is the $1 million question online. Is cheating a deal breaker for you? That eyebrow went up. I saw it.
Because it's not as cut and dry as that we would like it to be.
Right. Okay.
Habitual cheating, of course, right? But sometimes people that cheat don't even know why they cheat. Right? They don't even know why. For some people, especially if you say if it's from a male's perspective, it is because this is what's socially accepted for me to be able to do anyway.
Gotcha.
But then I think that it's the thing that you have to weigh between you and the person.
Right.
You can't just say emphatically, well, you cheated and I'm done.
And I'm done. Right. Okay.
You just can't say that because there were I'm sure that there had to be other things that led up to this. It probably didn't come out the blue.
Right.
Maybe there were some cues that you missed, or maybe we didn't have the right foundation in the beginning for us to feel comfortable enough to talk about the things that might have led to somebody making the decision to cheat.
Right.
Anyway.
Okay.
But one thing's about it, once you find out about the infidelity or whatever, you got to have a real conversation, not only with the other person, but also with yourself. And to let you know that a lot of the times when it comes down to cheating, and this is just my opinion, but when it comes down to cheating, it's really about the other person. That act is about them and actually really has nothing to do with you. It's about it could very well be about them and their own inadequacies.
Right.
Because why would you want to do something like that that would hurt a person that you spent this time with?
Exactly.
Or made these promises to, unless that's literally your MO and how you like to do people.
Right.
So,
okay. Yeah. And that definitely makes sense right there. Hey, y'all learn. I'm telling y'all, the Unpoplar Truth Podcast, man. And like I said, I am so delighted to have you, Carmen. We're going to bring you back.
You can have me back whenever.
We have got to bring her back. And we're in discussion of having a panel. Okay. And so those podcasts will be, of course, longer than 45 minutes and whatnot, because we're going to have a lot of different input. We're going to have guests. Yeah. And so we definitely going to bring you back. And so at the end, I appreciate you coming. Anything you want to tell your viewers and anybody watching. I know you're an introvert, so they just be like, bye, y'all.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. No, I just want to thank you for inviting me.
No doubt.
And thank you for considering for having me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that everybody, I'm going to share this on all my socials, but I hope people pay attention and listen and engage with your content. Right. It's important. I think it is it's really, really refreshing and it's honest.
Always. And I guarantee you that was really the purpose of it. It's that unpopular truth. People know the truth, but they don't want to accept it. Mm-hmm. And so when people like you or me or some of our other guests come on and we say, this is an actual fact about that, like how you say cheating is not about deal breaking. It's about, and it's not even about you personally. It's about whatever this other person might be going through. And I mean, all of these things, because so much people get stereotyped and they get fed information of the general public. And you can't live general public. Your circumstance is different from mine, different from hers, different from his.
A person's lived experience is very, very valid.
Very different. Mm-hmm. How I was brought up. Everybody say you start from kindergarten, but sometimes your book was a little bit different than my book, or I read my book. Your 2 + 2 = 4. My 1 + 3 = 4. So we might have the same answer, just different ways of going about it.
Exactly.
Y'all know what it is, man. So this is your guy Jayson Foley, man, and we'll see y'all on the next episode. And we out. I'm gonna tell you the truth.